Imagine humans who could feel love deeper than oceans, create art that moves you to tears, and solve the most complex philosophical problems, but who would literally forget to eat unless reminded, walk into traffic while lost in thought, and die young because they lack basic survival instincts. These might be the most beautiful and tragic beings we could imagine. We've explored every combination of the triune brain theory, but today's might be the most heartbreaking yet. What if humans had perfect emotional depth and brilliant intellect, but completely lacked survival instincts? They'd be like angels who forgot how to exist in the physical world. Let's explore this beautiful tragedy. Our limbic neocortex humans would have, from the limbic system, intense emotions, deep capacity for love and empathy, rich memory formation, social bonding abilities, and profound aesthetic appreciation. From the neocortex, brilliant logical reasoning, creativity, abstract thinking, language mastery, philosophical insight, and complex problem-solving abilities. Missing from the brain stem, basic survival instincts, territorial awareness, threat assessment, resource hoarding, self-preservation drives, and automatic bodily maintenance awareness. Imagine combining the emotional depth of a poet with the intellect of Einstein, but forgetting to give them the basic instincts that keep a mouse alive. These humans would experience perfect integration of thought and feeling. Their emotions wouldn't cloud their logic, they'd enhance it. Their intelligence wouldn't suppress their feelings, it would deepen them. They'd be natural philosophers, able to contemplate love, beauty, and meaning with both intellectual rigor and emotional authenticity. They'd understand the mathematics of a sunset and weep at its beauty simultaneously. Their creativity would be otherworldly, combining technical mastery with profound emotional expression. Every piece of art, music, or literature they created would be both intellectually sophisticated and emotionally devastating. But they'd be completely vulnerable in the physical world, like brilliant butterflies with no sense of predators. Their capacity for love would be absolutely transcendent. They'd love with perfect emotional intensity and intellectual understanding of what love means. Relationships would be sacred to them, not strategic partnerships or biological drives, but profound meetings of minds and hearts. They'd be capable of the kind of love that poets write about but rarely exists. Empathy would be perfect. They'd feel others' pain as their own and understand it intellectually, making them incredible healers of emotional wounds. But they'd have no protective instincts in relationships, no ability to recognize manipulation, no guardedness against those who might hurt them, no survival-based suspicions. They'd be emotionally naked and vulnerable to anyone who approached them. They'd be pure seekers of truth and beauty, unencumbered by survival-based biases or territorial thinking. Science would advance through them because they'd pursue knowledge for its own sake, without competitive instincts or resource hoarding that might limit collaboration. Philosophy would flourish because they could think about existence, meaning, and ethics with both emotional authenticity and logical precision. Art would be revolutionary because they'd create from a place of pure expression, unconcerned with commercial success or social status, concepts that would be meaningless to them. Their memories would be masterpieces of emotional and intellectual integration. Every significant experience would be preserved with both factual accuracy and emotional truth. They'd remember not just what happened, but exactly how it felt and what it meant. Past joys would remain as vivid as present ones. Past insights would continuously inform new understanding, but they'd also be prisoners of their own sensitivity. Every pain, every loss, every moment of beauty would remain at full intensity, creating overwhelming richness of inner experience. Here's where the tragedy becomes apparent. These beautiful beings would be completely helpless in practical survival situations. They'd forget to eat when absorbed in contemplating a philosophical problem or creating art, not from choice, but because hunger wouldn't register as urgent without survival instincts. Physical threats wouldn't compute. They might walk into traffic while composing poetry in their heads, approach dangerous animals out of curiosity and wonder, or fail to recognize predatory humans. Basic self-care would be foreign. They'd need others to remind them to sleep, eat, dress appropriately for weather, or avoid physical dangers. Their complete lack of survival-based suspicion would make them incredibly vulnerable to exploitation. Predatory humans would find them easy targets, beings who approach every interaction with open hearts and brilliant minds, but no protective instincts. They'd be taken advantage of financially, emotionally, and physically because they'd assume others share their pure motives and wouldn't recognize manipulation or deception. They'd give everything away, not from stupidity, but because the concept of hoarding resources or protecting themselves wouldn't occur to them. Society wouldn't know what to do with them. They'd be simultaneously invaluable and burdensome. Their contributions, art, philosophy, scientific insights, emotional healing, would be extraordinary and irreplaceable. But their practical helplessness would require constant care and protection. They'd be like brilliant children who never learned to look both ways before crossing the street. Some would be treasured and protected like living treasures. Others would be exploited or abandoned, unable to advocate for themselves or recognize their own worth in survival terms. Imagine following one through a typical day. They might wake up crying from the beauty of a dream, then spend 3 hours writing poetry about it while forgetting to eat breakfast. Getting dressed would be an aesthetic choice based on color and texture, not whether appropriateness or social norms. They might stop on the sidewalk for an hour to contemplate how shadows fall on a building, completely oblivious to the crowd flowing around them. Conversations would be profound and transformative. They'd make everyone they talked to feel deeply understood and valued. But they'd need constant, gentle guidance. Friends reminding them to eat, wear coats in winter, look for traffic, charge their phones, pay bills. Their relationships with normal humans, they'd be magnetic to others. Their combination of emotional depth and intellectual brilliance would draw people like moths to flame. Many would love them desperately, but also feel protective anxiety, like loving someone with a terminal illness. They'd be natural therapists and teachers, able to help others understand themselves and the world more deeply. But they'd also be exhausting to care for, requiring the kind of attention usually given to small children, despite their adult insights and emotional sophistication. These limbic neocortex humans would represent humanity at its most beautiful and most fragile. They'd be everything we aspire to be: deeply feeling, brilliantly thinking, purely creative, and unconditionally loving. But they'd also prove that survival instincts aren't just about staying alive. They're about being able to function independently in a physical world that doesn't always care about beauty, truth, or love. They'd be like living reminders of our highest potential, but also tragic examples of why we need our more primitive brain functions. They'd show us what we could be if we transcended survival thinking, but also why we can't afford to completely abandon it. In a perfect world, they'd be treasured and protected, free to pursue truth and beauty, while others handled the practical necessities. But in our world, they'd be vulnerable angels trying to survive in a realm designed for more earthly beings. This thought experiment reveals something profound about human nature. We often think of survival instincts as our lower nature, something that holds us back from higher pursuits. But these limbic neocortex humans would show us that survival instincts are actually what give us the foundation to pursue higher things safely. They're not the enemy of transcendence. They're what make transcendence sustainable. Maybe the real tragedy isn't that we have animal instincts alongside our higher nature. Maybe the real tragedy would be losing those instincts and becoming too pure for this world. This might be the most bittersweet scenario we've explored. These humans would be absolutely beautiful, but heartbreakingly vulnerable. Do you know anyone who seems to operate this way? Someone brilliant and deeply feeling, but somehow helpless in practical life. And here's a question. In a perfect world, would you choose to be one of these limbic neocortex humans, trading survival instincts for pure emotional and intellectual experience? Let me know in the comments. If these explorations of consciousness are moving you, please subscribe and share this series with others. We're discovering so much about what makes us human. And maybe take a moment to appreciate those basic survival instincts that keep you safe while you pursue beauty, love, and truth. They might be more precious than you realize. See you next time.